Welcome back to the HPR Chronicle, guys, with Shakur and Smith.
What's up?
I'm Shakur, he's Smith. It's a podcast about history, politics, and race from a pop culture's perspective. We're going to try and break it down simple so that you guys can understand and get it. I'm a film director from Trinidad and Tobago. I travel a lot. I've always had a love for history and politics. I say the same spiel every week. Chris is a veteran of the Army Reserves that works for the VA with a passion for history and politics as well. Chris haven't traveled as much as I have, but we're definitely going to get him out there. Nonetheless, he still has the same passion, though. You know?
I've traveled again.
It's just not as much
over
overseas.
in other. Yes.
Yeah. It's about truth. We're not pro any race, as you guys will see if you flip through our podcasts. That we talk about everything. And if the truth offends you, we're sorry. Not sorry. So last week we covered Berlin. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that, those who checked in and listened to that. I want to take a moment just to thank all of our listeners on all the streaming platforms, watching us on YouTube, people that watch, people that listen on iTunes, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Google Play Music, all the podcast cell phone apps. Just want to take a moment and say thanks for checking in and listening in. Don't forget to always subscribe.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And we're just going to keep bringing you guys this good information on history, politics, and race. And we're going to cover everything. We're going to talk about it all.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I know the presidential debates were last week when we did Berlin. So we should probably talk about that this month
coming
sometime in July. Yeah. See what those Dems are talking about.
So what subjects or what policies they...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I could say, because this week is Crispy's episode, but I want to just mention something real quick that kind of disturbed me that I saw in the news last week. They asked Trump about reparations, and he goes, "Oh, I don't see that happening." Nah. Wow. You know what I mean? It was just like...
Well, of course he wouldn't see that.
Yeah, of course, because his base, he's pandering to his base.
Plus, he wouldn't, it's beyond his base. He wouldn't see that no matter what.
Right, he wouldn't see it no matter what.
If it was something that would have benefited him and it was opposite, he'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Reparations? Sure.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to let Crispy jump it off. I'm going to take notes in case I have questions and all that good stuff. And,
So, there's, recently, it was a couple of weeks ago, we were talking, and then there's been times that, you and I and Devon have had little subjects or talks about different subjects. And one time we were talking about police and what happens if you get pulled over, and you were just mentioning how in LA. So my thing is, what are your rights when getting pulled over or stopped if you're walking along the street by the police?
A lot, but no one knows them.
Yep. So
we have a lot, but people don't know their rights.
Do not. So here's my topic is, again, knowing your rights about being stopped and questioned or whatever.
That's a good one.
So police shouldn't. So if you're driving along and the police decide to pull you over, you cannot randomly just be stopped.
Right.
There has to be a reason for them to pull you over. Right. So they can't just stop you and look for drugs in your car. They need a reason or probable cause, like speeding, expired registration tags, or broken taillight. If you're pulled over and you have the right to stay in your car, it can look bad in the cop's eyes if they're asking you to come out, get out, but it is your right.
Okay? So it's your right to stay in the car.
Stay in the car.
Yeah.
So unless there's a safety reason that the officer is asking you, you should be able to stay in your car.
Okay.
So that's one thing. If officers may ask you to step out of your car as a safety precaution in order to avoid, a tense, a bad situation, you may want to comply with that. If it's not really that bad, big of a deal, go ahead.
Right.
But if you're, for your safety and for the officer's safety, sometimes you just might want to roll with it.
Right.
And then afterwards, if there's an issue, you deal with that later on. So out here living in wine country, we've seen different DUI checkpoints, right? So again, if you come across one, everyone has to stop at a checkpoint. You can't go past it. You can't, turning around. I've heard and seen videos where, the police will, chase after you, pull you over and check to see.
Which is what they do in LA.
Yeah. So if you come across one, you got to stop.
You're supposed to stop? Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to turn off?
No turning on.
So
I mean, I guess if you have a reason, I guess
that's why in LA they come at. But the way they do it here in wine country, it's just past Butterfield Stage.
Correct, and you have
I'll just go into my friend's house.
That's what I would do. Mean, if you really were going to, I don't think that out. I don't know. I haven't seen that.
So when
part.
you see it, you're supposed to keep going.
You got to keep going until you go through. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you can't. You're not. If there's a way to avoid it, you could avoid it. But the things I've seen is where people see, then they pull over, and then they try to do a U-turn or something. Like you're in trouble on that one because obviously they know that. I guess you could say, well, I decided I didn't need to go this route or blah blah blah, but they come after you, they pull you over, and they're still going to check on you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not saying that you have to continue if there's a way to turn.
Oh, okay, I got
That's
you.
all.
Because
if you actually come to it, you have to stop. That's what I'm saying.
LA,
you can't blow past.
They have motorcycle cops waiting for the people to try to turn off, and they just go after everybody they see turn off.
Interesting.
Because they don't know who's turning off because they see a checkpoint or who's really going that way.
Yeah.
So in
a way, that's a waste of their energy too. If they're going after someone who's not, didn't do anything wrong. But
that's interesting.
So here are 5 reasons when a cop can search your car without a warrant. So if you for some reason are pulled over and the officer asks you to if they can search your car, so if you give them consent. So if they basically just ask you, "Can I search my car?" and you say, "Okay," they're going to search you.
Gotcha.
Plain view. Plain view means if they see something, like let's say a baggie of marijuana or open empty bottle beer cans or liquor bottles or something like that, they know something's wrong or there's that's not legal. So ergo, they can search your car. If you are arrested, the police can search your car. So basically, if you, if you were pulled over for a DUI, and they felt that you were under the influence, they put you in custody. They can search your car before they take it away. If they have probable cause to suspect a crime, so. An officer cannot just be like, "Oh, I think I have a hunch that something's going on." No, they have to have enough evidence that allows them to think that a crime occurred. So, in other words, if they see, like I said, when they see alcohol or smell, the crime is that you're under the influence. So
that gives them probable cause to search.
And then another example, and it's an extreme, but let's say there's blood on your shirt or on the seat of the car. You have a ripped up purse or bag or something on it, and it looks like it's been just thrown. And then maybe they either see a knife or a bat or something crazy like that also in your car. So they see blood, and looks like a ripped up bag of some sort, purse or something, and maybe a bat or something. So ergo, they're thinking this person stole this purse or whatever, or maybe broke into someone's home or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Or and then again, it could be, just it has to be more than just a simple. Oh, this person has a black eye. Oh, there's he has a bloody nose. He could have done whatever to get a bloody nose.
Right.
And then lastly is exigent circumstances, and that means if a police officer is like, let's say they're at your home and they're trying to ask to enter, and you say no, but then like they hear maybe the garbage disposal or the toilet flush. Well, that makes them think you're trying to destroy evidence. That allows them to be able to break down, come in. So those
even if you were just using the bathroom.
Yeah. If you're talking to someone, they're trying to come in, and someone's in the bathroom actually just using it, and they flush us at the time. Technically, they probably could, push their way in.
They could say, you guys are trying to flush something down.
Correct.
Wow.
So if the police have a warrant, you have to let them search your vehicle. If they come across something illegal like drugs while doing the search, you can. Okay, so with that, the way I'm meant to phrase that is, so let's say they search your vehicle, they have a warrant, but they're searching for like a gun. Okay, and in the process of looking for the gun, they open the glove compartment. And you have some drugs in there. You can get charged for those drugs, even though they weren't necessarily looking for that. So if something's hidden in your, you think it's hidden, or you just have it, someone left something in it, you could be in trouble. However, if let's say there was, a drug of some sort in like your ashtray of your car. I don't even know if cars have ashtrays anymore, but in the ashtray or something like that, and it's covered, that wouldn't, and they open it up and find it, they would not be allowed to use that as evidence, because a gun wouldn't be able to fit in the ashtray. So whatever they're looking for, it has to fit into the compartment that they're searching.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And so those were kind of interesting things about, like, if you're driving along. Yeah. So the big one I was really thinking about is, like, because I've seen a video recently where a guy was, it just showed the video where someone's talking to the police officer saying, and then telling him and the guy, the guy who he stopped, like, you don't have to answer any questions. This officer's, it's all illegal, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are their rights, So if you're walking down the street and a cop approaches you and wants to ask you questions, if it's about something you saw, you can answer the questions or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this would be called a consensual interview, where they're just looking for information about, maybe they thought a crime.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a crime that occurred, and they're just going through trying to find out what happened. So they're just interviewing people as they see them or walking around. Or, maybe just they're interviewing someone. So depending on the state, people aren't required to provide legal ID or their name, address, age, or any other personal information during a consensual interview. So if you're being questioned and don't want to share your personal information, you can tell the cop that you do not want to talk. Only thing I definitely suggest, and I'm going to keep stating, be sure to just do it calmly.
Right.
Don't be like, hell no, I ain't telling you. That's a problem, But I don't, why do you need my name? I don't feel like that's important.
So you don't have to tell me your name if you don't want to?
Nope.
I didn't know that.
But there's more to it. So, but this is only for a consensual interview. So if they're just, like, again, if they're just asking questions, you can answer them or not. But so even though you don't have, like I said, do it calmly. You don't have to give them your name or anything like that. So basically, if it is a consensual interview, you're free to leave at any time. Okay. But before walking away, you should ask the officer if you are free to go. And if they say yes, you just walk, If you are being detained, so this is a little bit more, different. This is sometimes called a Terry stops. In most states, a cop can detain you if they suspect you have committing, or about to commit a crime.
Gotcha.
Some states have a stop and identify statute, which requires someone suspected of criminal activity to provide identification to police, and refusing is a crime. Okay. California does not have that statute. I triple checked that one. Yeah. So we are not one of the states where if you're detained, that you have to give your illegal ID, your name, or any of that information.
Okay. So you don't have to.
No.
Wow.
Would I not do it? I probably, just to make, because a lot of times stuff happens because people blow things up when it's not necessary. So it kind of depends. If you didn't do anything wrong, why can't you? Why not just give them your name?
Why not comply just to keep the peace?
Like, I don't care to have someone maybe know where my address. And I don't understand the age part either.
Right.
But but there are 24 states that do have this stop and identify statute.
I know in New York they had stop and frisk too.
Stop and frisk, and I was looking at, and I read about it, but I didn't really continue because I thought stop and frisk was considered illegal, and but what I did read about is that with stop and frisk, it's a powerful deterrent, but it can also be abused. Okay. So it's a nice way of getting people to commit less crimes, because you could possibly anytime the police can stop you and just and search through through you or search you, but so it's out there. So if you're stopped and the police say, do you mind if we conduct a search of your person, you are free to refuse their request too. Okay, so just because an officer comes near you, it does not automatically give them the authority to search you. Let's say a cop wants to pat you down, so they always have to do it on the outside. They have to explain the reason for wanting to pat you down. They can't just say, "Can I pat you down?" and be like,
right,
why do you want to?
Right.
Well, I'm concerned you might have a weapon. Well, you could be like, I have nothing, you know? So you can either say yes or no.
Right.
Now, you could say, if you say yes as far as pat you down, all they're going to do is the outside. If they stick their, if they don't ask for consent to actually reach into your pocket, they have to have consent to reach into your pocket. And so I think the way they phrase stuff sometimes, it seems like it's it's an order instead of a question. But when they say something like, can I pat you down? You go, okay, can I, what's this in your pocket? Can I see? That's a question, basically, obviously. So you could just say no, and they can't. I mean, they might try to, detain you further, or might try to arrest you. But if whatever you have in your pocket, you really don't want them to see for whatever reason, you can say no.
Right.
So if you do happen to say okay, then they obviously can search you, and whatever they find, you're in trouble. So if you're being detained or arrested, you have the right to refuse to answer any questions, or better phrase, you have the right to remain silent or ask for a lawyer.
Okay.
So, and then along everything I saw, there are two main takeaways that I got from this. And so the first one is, remain silent, because whatever you say can be used against you. If you get pulled over for speeding and the officer asks you if you know how fast you were speeding, or that you were speeding or anything like that, the best answer is say, I don't know.
Okay.
And then he'll tell you, oh, you were going this fast. You're like, okay. The second takeaway is always remain calm. Getting angry, yelling, and swearing will never help the situation. If you're in an area where police harassment is regular, it's just very common.
Yeah.
You may want to, like, if you're walking and you see the police coming up to you, you may want to call someone and have someone on the phone so that they can hear the conversation that you're going to have with them. Another thing is, if you are, again on the street and the officer's coming up, or has already start talking with you, and you feel it's not going right, you can maybe yell out to someone and say, please, hey, can you be a witness to what's going on right here? Because I have a feeling that this is not going on.
Oh, that's interesting too.
So those were two different things that
interesting stuff you just don't think about.
Yeah, and you don't, and when you're in the heat of the moment, really, there's a lot. Well, keep on. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of talk of, with don't shoot, hands up, or don't shoot and stuff like that. That's part of the reason for, bringing this up. Definitely know what your rights are. This is something to, like, I have a son. I'm definitely going to be teaching him and explaining to him these scenarios, this information, so that he knows for himself. Because a lot of times cops will harass teenagers, and they don't know their rights.
Right.
And really, in fact, they're not even supposed to, if anyone's a minor, police can't just interrogate you without contacting your parents. But, we know it happens. So I want to give NAACP, their website. They have an actual 3-page, well, it's actually 2 pages, but there's 3 pages to it. It's Know Your Rights, what to do if you're stopped by the police.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of going to read through them real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Know your rights. You have the right to remain silent. If you wish to exercise that right, say so out loud. In some states, you have to say your name. So again, some states you do. You have the right to refuse to a search of yourself, your car, or your home. If you are not under arrest, you have a right to calmly leave.
Oh.
Okay. If you are arrested, you have the right to a lawyer. Ask for one immediately. So if there's something going on, I wouldn't even, like, there's basic information I may give, like my name, address. But if I was really in trouble, I want a lawyer.
Yeah.
Just lawyer up.
Yeah.
So protect yourself. Stay calm and in control. Don't argue with, run from, interfere with, or resist the police. So one of the other things that, as far as the resist goes, or like just touching an officer like that could be considered assaulting an officer. So definitely be careful about what you're doing, because they can use any, you touched me, boom, that was assault. Be like, what? Last time I figured assault was if I actually,
if you actually assault somebody.
So you don't have to speak to the police. Say, I would like to remain silent. In some states, you must tell police your name if they ask you to identify yourself. So again, there are states you have to give your name. So you have to say, my name is blah, 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 but I plan to, but I want to remain silent. Or I refuse to speak. You don't have to agree to a search. Say, I do not consent to a search. Ask, am I free to leave? If you are free to leave, leave calmly. If you are arrested, ask for a lawyer. Write down everything you remember, including badge number, car numbers, and any other details. So as soon as you get away from the situation, write that stuff down. If you feel like it was done as a harassment, it was a legal search, or however you were treated, and definitely write everything down. Talk to, mention it to someone, because you want at least someone to be able to verify. Oh yeah, when he got done, he was so or she was so traumatized by it or affected that they told me about this. We discussed it. Again, and this is tell your parents or guardians what happened. Report it. If you believe your rights have been violated, file a complaint with the agency's Internal Affairs Division or a civilian board. And then if you are questioned about your immigration status, you have the right to remain silent. You do not have to discuss your immigration status. Interesting. Big time. If the police or immigration agents come to your home, you do not have to let them in unless they present a warrant. You still have the right to remain silent.
Interesting.
So now I got to say, I didn't read all of that, and I didn't know those immigration things were going to be in the bottom. So, but I do. Okay. So, if you're being stopped, if the police may stop and question you because you are a witness, not a suspect. This is called a Terry stop, which also I was. Maybe I'm getting my stuff wrong a little bit, but I thought the Terry stop was consensual interview, and then Terry stop to me was different. But anyway, if you are a suspect, it may be because you fit the description of someone involved in a crime. What was that?
You look like. They could always use that excuse, though.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
They can ask ask for your name, address, and age, or request your ID. The police must have a reasonable suspicion, meaning a clear, specific, and unbiased reason for suspecting that you committed or are committing or about to commit a crime. They cannot stop you because you simply look suspicious.
Right.
So if someone says you look suspicious, you were, basically I've had officers, oh, you look suspicious. And?
Yeah.
Bye.
Wow, yeah.
Dudes, ask.
Anyone could look suspicious.
Exactly.
Use it as an excuse anytime.
Dudes, ask, am I under arrest? So this is, again, these last ones I'm just talking about is if you were being stopped. Right. Do ask am I under arrest, and am I free to go? So those are two phrases you definitely want to know if you're walking and the police stop you. Don't run away or badmouth an officer. It's not going to the situation is not going to go well.
Right.
He's got to chase you. He's going to be upset that he had to run, sweat, whatever. So he's going to treat you very wrong. Throw you on the ground and all that other stuff.
Yep.
You know, and then bad mouthing, that just is not going to go anywhere well.
Right. Not going over well.
Yeah. If you're being searched, if the police begin searching you or your personal belongings, this is called a stop and frisk or a Terry frisk. The police must have reasonable suspicion, meaning a clear, specific, and unbiased reasons for suspecting that you have been involved in a crime and or are armed and dangerous. Mm-hmm. When the police search you, you may pat down. When the police search you, they may pat down your outer clothing only. Mm-hmm. So the initial search has to be a pat down of the outer clothing. He cannot squeeze or reach into your pockets unless he believes he has felt a weapon after patting you down.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Dues, say, if you're about to be or question or they're asking if they want to search you, so you can say, I do not search or I do not consent to a search. Mm-hmm. Don't empty your pockets voluntarily or reach towards your waistband as the officer approaches. So this is more the officer's coming up like, hey, you stop. Mm-hmm. Don't just start reaching in your pocket. If it's there, if your hands are out, leave them out. If your hands are in your pocket, I mean, I would kind of probably leave them there too. Yeah. And then if they say, take your hands out, okay, I'm taking my hands out slowly. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So repeat their what they say to you, because sometimes I've watched videos where they they'll tell you to do two different things that contradict each other, and it's like I can't do either one. Yeah. And I've seen bad videos where you're just like your orders were not clear. Yeah. So if you have a car stop, so if you're stopped and you're in your car, the police must have probable cause, meaning a strong, unbiased, and factual reason for believing that you have committed a traffic violation. Mm-hmm. The police may ask for your license, registration, and proof of insurance. If they say anything illegal, this may create probable cause for them to search you if they see something if they see something illegal, that may create probable cause for them to search you or your car. So again, that was like the example I gave. They cannot search the trunk unless they have probable cause, a search warrant, or believe you may be armed and dangerous. Dues: stop immediately and turn off your car engine. Place your hands on the wheel. Say, I do not consent to a search, and write down everything that happened. Do not consent to a search of your car or personal belongings, or reach for any items in your clothing or car without specific instructions from the police. Which again, I've seen someone getting shot for that too. Like an officer said, give me your license and registration. And the guy reached into his car to get his registration, and the guy got shot. And he's like, and luckily he lived. And he was like, why did you shoot me? He's like, you were reaching. He's like, I was following your orders. Right. So, always, I guess in that sense,
be jittery too, and inexperienced and just on edge and scared.
Exactly. I mean, what I would do is I would repeat the order. Mm-hmm. What they're telling you. So
I'm reaching.
I'm going to go reach for my glove,
So my glove box. I've done that before. Stopped and was like, I'm reaching in my glove box right now to get you my registration.
Yep. I'm reaching for my wallet in my back pocket. Stuff like that. So if you are arrested, the police, if you're arrested by the police, remember that a judge determines whether you are charged, what the charge will be, and when you will go home, not the police. If the police arrest you, they must have probable cause, meaning a strong, unbiased, factual reason for believing that you have committed a crime. The dues: remain silent or say, I do not want to answer any questions. Request an attorney immediately and write down everything you remember ASAP. If you are hurt, get medical attention and take photos of your injuries ASAP. Don't run, resist, or fight back. Also don't reach suddenly for any items in your pocket or clothing. Consent to any searches This is all, again, don'ts. Don't consent to any searches or give up your right to a lawyer or answer any questions without your lawyer.
Wow.
So that's pretty much it. It was just, like I said, I wanted to basically give out, do's and don'ts. What is your right?
Yeah, so much. I have to re-listen to the episode and take notes and stuff. But it's funny. I remember one time I was going through South Central and I was with, and I'm only saying this to give you guys context, I was with Ernest Thomas. He played Raj on What's Happening and What's Happening Now, for those who remember, Rerun and Raj.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
all
know
that.
Raj.
So I was with Raj, Ernest Thomas, and we were going through South Central, and we were stopped, man. And it was me, him, and a couple other people we knew. I forget who else was in the car, but yeah, and they stopped us, pulled it, because he had a friend that lived in South Central. She had a home there for like decades. Was older lady, was there like way before the game, probably like saw all that stuff happen. Wow. But she had a house in one of those communities in South Central and had always lived there and stuff like that. And he was going to visit her at the time. I think I was, yeah, exactly. And these cops stopped us, and I remember they pulled us out of the car, had us up against the fence, fingers interlocked, grabbing on our genitalia and shit, seeing if we had stuff on us. And they knew who he was too, because we told them, hey man, Thomas with us. Oh yeah, we know who he is. And they didn't even care, bro.
Damn.
It was just despicable and disgraceful. Wow. You know what I mean? And had I known that stuff you told me right now, because there was no reason for them to stop us.
Yeah.
It was it was a high gang area. That's nothing to do with us. You can tell that we're not gangsters.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why do you want us to get out of the car? It makes no sense. But we complied, and they searched us and this, that, and the other unlawfully. Yeah. And like sent us on our way. No ticket or anything.
Which is even worse, because obviously it was straight.
Yeah. They just stopped us because they saw some black men in a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was crazy. Then I remember another incident where I was younger, and when I was growing up in South Florida, and I remember these cops, they stopped us, and they placed a gun in my back seat and tried to say it was mine.
Oh, wow.
I literally saw him put the gun in the back seat when we were on the ground at the gas station. Yeah. And go, I found a gun.
Wow.
I literally saw it with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they tried to pin that crap on us. Yeah.
So how did...
I mean, that's the stuff that you end up dealing with as a black man in America.
Yep.
It was crazy, man. And it's funny. And back then, it was so long ago, Chris, we ended up not being charged and stuff, because I said, I saw you plant that thing in my back seat. Because see, what it is, because, Florida is a right to carry state. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're allowed to have it certain places. Mm-hmm. So he tried to move it in an unlawful place.
Got it. Because you could have it in your trunk.
Right. In Florida, you could have it in a glove box. You could have it on the seat. Oh, okay. And all that in Florida, because you have a right to conceal and carry in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so he moved it to a place that was unlawful and tried to say that I had it. It was unlawful carry. Oh, okay. That's what it was. And I was like, no, that's not. I just saw you move it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And just so you talking about this just brought me back to those times. And then recently I went to court, for my friend Zach, who mm-hmm. and I remember waiting in the holding area, not holding area, but waiting area, because I was a witness in this case. And this brother came in, and I forgot what he was doing, mm-hmm. but he was reciting these penal codes. Oh. He's like, yeah, according to code so-and-so, I could be up here asking you guys this right now. Yeah. And he was dead wrong. And what I'm saying that to say, if you are going to do that and you start spouting law, at least know the law you're spouting for that situation, so that you don't look like a fool and send you out like I saw they do this gentleman. Know the law. Know what it is you need to went over today. Know exactly what that is, man. Just don't just don't say stuff and then look like a fool, and know your rights and know the law. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of this is part of like the Fourth Amendment, but I still, definitely always double check your state laws.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's going to be different in every state. Yeah. And again, I have to re-listen to this episode because there was so much information. Seriously, I'm going to have to re-listen to it. I listen to them anyway, guys, but I'm going to definitely have to re-listen to this episode because there was so much. Because I want to remember all that stuff. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because
did I go too fast?
Especially being black men in America.
Oh, yeah. It would have to.
Because
we do.
We're a victim of this, I think, more than anyone else, black and brown.
I mean, everyone sometimes get pulled over for bullshit. Or you get pulled over because you may have committed a moving violation, and then they go from there.
Right.
But, like, a lot of times it is BS because when you talk about things you've experienced, like, I remember with my cousin, he was telling me how he got pulled over. Mm-hmm. He likes to drive, Camaros and stuff like that. So very fast cars. And he would race his cars back in the day. But he was with his wife. They were driving in Chicago area, windows down, and the police pulled him over. And I want to say Chicago police. And the bad part is the guy goes, you have too much, the tint is too dark on your window. And he's like, BS, because my window was down when you pulled me over. Right. So obviously he wasn't getting pulled over for his window. Right. It was just basically for the car. And then, I mean, it's amazing what cops say to people to almost kind of get you riled up a little bit. Like I remember one time when I was with him, and he said we weren't following the rule for a bus, like you don't, school buses, the sign comes out, the stop thing, and you stop. Mm-hmm. Well, the bus was here, and there was a turn that we needed to make that was before the bus. Mm-hmm. So we made it. I'm like, I even told him, I was like, yeah, you can turn. You're not going straight. You're turning, even if the kids went straight across the street, you still weren't in their way, but they were on the same side we were heading initially. But anyway, so he turns, please pull him over, and then ask ID, all the other BS, and then which I'm sorry, that's not BS, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. But then was like, do I know you? Because I'm like, hell no, you don't know me. Like, wow. But it's just, again, those are statements that gets a person riled up. Like, what do you mean you know me? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it seems innocent, but it's not, because there's it hits deeper than just a simple question sometimes.
And it's funny, I think we've all been stopped with like a classic, do you have any guns or drugs in a car?
Yeah.
That like, I mean, I've been asked that so many times, I have to say. Yeah. And it's funny. Remember we talked about the apartheid episode in Culver City, how it's known that they stop you for no reason. Yeah. That's the first thing I thought about.
Yeah, said,
and that's what it's an area that
And these are all things that like, again, you talked about that previously that made me think of it. So I was like, this is a good thing to definitely put out. Know your rights. And I remember back in Madison, me and my friends, we had a little argument in a Buffalo Wild Wings, and and they came over and they was like, "Can y'all please leave?" We was like, "We're done eating anyway." It was a stupid argument, so we walked out, and we were just walking, and then the police decide. I guess maybe they called the police, and of course they was like, "That's them three guys," which we had did nothing but just talk.
Wow, yeah.
So they stopped, say, "Hey, stop." We stopped, and then they're like, "Can we see your ID?" Which, if I'd have known, I didn't have to. I'd have been like, "No, you don't need my ID. I'm just walking." We didn't do anything in there. Right. Whatever they called you for, it was just because they saw three black guys. Right. Not, and actually it was only me and this other person really having a little heated discussion about what it was. And once they told us to leave, we left. It's not like we caused really any problems. So, if I'd have known I didn't need to, I did. We walked away. It was nothing. But at the same time, it's just like, really? Do I really have to have my, so now that I know this, it's just good to know. Not that I would ever just blatantly be like, no, you don't need it. If I, if I can avoid make the situation be resolved quicker, then I'm just not going to do it. But
it's good to know. I mean, to me, it's so much. You have to like write those down.
Yeah.
To me, and take them with you.
And take them and have them with you.
Like have it in your glove box. When they stop you, be like, hold on. So, because there's so many rules. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
is this a Terry stop?
Right.
Or is this a stop and frisk?
Exactly. According to Penal Code so-and-so, -2359, you can't ask me that right now. You know what I'm saying? That's what we just start doing.
Definitely know
you hit
stuff.
him with that stuff and then be like, what's your badge number, sir, and your first and last name?
Yeah.
Boy, you start hitting them like that and knowing the law.
Oh, yeah. They kind of...
different
But you definitely got to know exactly what you're saying. You can't just spout out stuff.
Exactly.
Because when you do, they be like,
know what you're saying, right?
We about to,
and be right, be correct in what you're saying.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
But overall, if you don't do anything wrong, then you know that if you get stopped, there's nothing. There's nothing going to be.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree that we've known or heard of someone, having and even seen videos where police have planted evidence and whatever. It can happen, but for the most part, it does not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
I mean, you even have an example, but again, for the most part, you only have the one example out of your, X amount of years of living. So
yeah, that's true. That's crazy, man.
Because I think when I had a car accident and my mother was in the car with me, and the officer was like, "What's the name of the person in the car?" And I'm like, why do you need to know that? I looked at him like, huh? Yeah. And he was like, and he did kind of go, if I'm filling out a report, if she's injured, I need to have that information.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. But, just like, who's all in the car?
Right.
What's that good? I'm the one driving.
I'm the one driving. Yeah. Just like
so
girl said Get Out. When they stopped him. Did you see the movie Get Out?
Yeah.
You remember they stopped him after he hit the deer or whatever? Mm-hmm. And she was like, why are you asking him questions?
Oh, yeah.
I was driving. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. He
was like, babe. Like,
but, man, this is just something I forgot I was going to say.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's it?
That, I think, is it.
Cool. All right, guys, that's our episode. So we're going to do, definitely thank Crispy for bringing that good topic in. So today's July 3rd. Tomorrow's the 4th. Be safe out there. Don't drink too much.
Yeah, don't.
With your barbecue and all that good stuff.
Well, you can drink too much. Just Uber, Lyft, have a friend, be home, whatever.
Drink responsibly.
Yes.
So we're going to go over Today in History real quick. So, like we said, that's a new segment we're doing Today in History. So, July 3rd, 1844, American Ambassador Caleb Cushing successfully negotiates a commercial treaty with China. That happened in 1844 on July 3rd. In 1863, the Confederate forces attacked the center of the Union line at Gettysburg, but failed to break it.
Oh.
That happened today in 1863. Another one, I'm trying to give you guys 4 every episode. Another one in 1878, John Wise flies the first dirigible in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. What is that?
Dirigible?
Yeah, that's what it says. Or is it dirigible? Dirigible or dirigible? Right there.
Dirigible.
Yeah,
dirigible. Yeah. I don't know. So it seems like not rigid, maybe?
Yes, yeah. We'll look it up. Then in 1901, July 3rd, the Wild Bunch, led by Butch Cassidy, commits the last American robbery near Wagner, Montana, taking $65,000 from a Great Northern train. Wow. Butch Cassidy.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Wild Bunch. Yeah, that's crazy. 1901, those fools stole $65,000 from a Great Northern train. That was a lot in 1901.
How much again?
They took $65,000.
Ooh.
Butch Cassidy back then, the Wild Bunch.
That is a lot.
Wow, I didn't even know that. So in 1963.
Dirigible is an airship.
Oh, okay.
Especially one with a rigid structure. So it's rigid.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So in 1878, July 3rd, John Wise flies the first dirigible in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Dirigible airship or something.
Dirigible airship, yeah. So that's what happened, guys. All right. So thanks again for checking in. It's the HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith. Any comments, leave it in the description. rptalktruth@gmail.com is the email. Don't forget to subscribe on all the platforms. Look around if you like or subscribe on YouTube. We still have the $100 giveaway to get to 1,000. We have a lot of listeners on the streaming platforms. YouTube is probably our lowest because people don't want to watch. They want to just listen to podcasts, usually when they're driving or cooking or whatever. But yeah, we're still trying to get those numbers up on YouTube. So thanks, man. Thanks again for checking in. It's the HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith.
Know your rights.
Know your rights. Exactly. Peace out.
Peace.